You ever walk into a gym and have no clue on what to hit? Or wonder if any of those exercises that you're gonna plan to do today, like, are they even worth it? I know in all my time, when I used to walk into a gym, I always wonder like, hey, should I be doing more or should I be doing less? What's up guys? My name is David. I post videos on anything that's self-help and fitness. I've been working out for over 15 years. I'm currently 28 years old, and my job is to provide as much value and as much of my experience to you guys. So if I only had to pick 10 exercises, I would definitely focus on mainly compound movements. And the reason being is because you will be able to target multiple muscle groups. Compounds could be anything that target 2 or 3 muscle groups. So anything more than one, guys. We're gonna divide this video into 3 sections. The way I will break it up is into the push exercises, then we're gonna go over the pull exercises, and then we'll do legs. Let's dive in. All right guys, up first, we're gonna go over the push muscles. And in terms of the first exercise that I would include would be the incline dumbbell press. The main muscles this is gonna target is your chest, your triceps, and your shoulders. Reason being I like to pick this one in all my experience is because whenever you're doing anything dumbbell related, it works on your stability muscles, which you honestly don't get whenever you're doing any type of barbell work. I also noticed too, at least for me, I find it way more enjoyable, and most people are lacking their upper chest anyways. So yes, you can make the argument you could go hit the flat bench press, you could do flies, like that's all good and everything, but if I had to pick one that targets all 3 parts of the chest, it'd be something with incline, and preferably the incline dumbbell press. The incline dumbbell press has been one of my favorite exercises, and if I had to pick a chest exercise that I want to keep doing for the longevity, that'd be it. That's honestly what's giving me the most return in terms of my exercises, and it's been one of the few exercises that's been growing my upper chest. Obviously I've included more exercises for chest, but today we're only currently talking about the 10 best exercises that I would include. A beginner tip, whenever you're doing the incline double press, you want to be about 45-degree angle with your elbows a little bit tucked in. You don't want to be too flared out 90, because then that's going to cause some shoulder pain. You want to be slightly adjusted about 45 degrees and then press up and come down slowly. You don't want to ego lift, and you want to work up to a weight that you can actually control. Sure, try to progressive overload every week, but if you can't move up in weight, try to do more reps than what you did last time. The next exercise that I would focus on is a shoulder press. If I'm being picky right here, like how I am, I prefer doing it on a machine. That's been the most safe and the most reliable on my joints as I keep getting older. I am 28 years old, guys, and as I've gotten older, I've been trying to be more cautious about my health and my joints and not have too much inflammation in my body. And plus, when it comes to doing the machine shoulder press, I've been able to safely do it without having to need a spotter. Obviously, yes, in the past, and sometimes even now, I'll use a spotter to help me get a couple more reps up. But even then, it's one of the few things that you can safely do. Obviously, for you guys, shoulder press is what I recommend in terms of any type of movements, either dumbbell or barbell as well. But whenever you do any shoulder press, it's gonna work the front part of your delts, which is gonna give a lot of bang for your buck, since you already been doing some type of chest movement. Whenever I said that you do the incline double press, your shoulders are also involved, and so are your triceps, which is why I decided to include a compound movement right from the start. Now that you already have a shoulder movement, we can get into the good stuff. Typically when you're doing shoulder press, like I said, you want to be about 45 degrees angle, elbows tucked in a little bit, and you're just pressing up. Typically when you're in a machine, it's gonna be at an incline like this. You just want to have your rear delts back with a little bit of space in your lower back, not rounding your back, keeping your back somewhat straight, and just pressing up. Obviously you want to control the weight and do weight that's manageable. It will be so easy on your joints, and that's why I prefer to do more of the machines when it comes to shoulders, just because I notice sometimes, for me at least, I'll get some inflammation in one of my joints here, which is why most of the time I recommend you guys have a proper warm-up. But even then, as you age, you might get little tweaks here and there. So just try to be careful whenever you're going a little bit heavier or you're trying to push yourself just a bit more. The next exercise that I would focus, we're still on shoulders, is lateral raises. For me, I like to do it on the cable, single cables, and just go. You wanna be slightly elbow bent, your arm a little bit straight, just a slight bend on your elbow, and you just wanna raise it up. If you are doing with dumbbells, you could do them at the same time. That also works too, with elbow slightly bent. Obviously, I'm gonna be way more biased and I'm gonna pick the cables only because I feel like you get much more tension throughout the whole movement on the way down and on the way up. And the thing with lateral raises when you're doing them with the dumbbells, sometimes you can typically cheat with momentum. I don't recommend you cheat all the time, but as you're getting closer towards the end of your set, you could use a little bit momentum, but you want to control it on the eccentric, which is the way down. That's going to give you way more results. Also with the cable, I would admit this, guys, you are going to be so humble when you're doing it on the cable. Not only that, with lateral raises, the main reason I picked that as one of the 10 exercises that I would do is because it's gonna give that extra part of your delt. It's gonna give more of that 3D look. So instead, it's gonna give you a wider shoulder. Like, yes, we talked about the regular shoulder press to work the front delt, but we can't forget the second head of the delt, which is right here in the middle. And the way you're gonna be able to work that is with lateral raises. You'll notice you'll get a wider delt, and it's gonna make you look way more wider. Your shoulder to waist ratio is gonna look so great because you have wider delts. That's how you see all these bodybuilders, all these gym rats. That's why they have that like absurd bowling ball shoulder look, is because they spam lateral raises. I kid you not, guys. And honestly, you just have to hit it about twice a week. If you hit about 3 sets, close to failure, I wanna say, you should be good. Anywhere from 12 to 15 reps, you should be fine. The next exercise that I want you guys to focus on are tricep push downs. You can do this with either a rope or you can use the cable to push down. Reason being is because when you're doing a regular tricep push down, it's gonna work on all the heads of your tricep and it's gonna give you the most growth on your triceps. Yes, you can make the argument that you could do more exercises for your triceps. You could do something like a single cable for your triceps, but today we're talking about the only 10 exercises that I would do. This will save you so much time, and when you're doing a regular tricep movement, although you're hitting one head more than the other, you will hit all of them. So you still want to include some type of tricep movement because you don't want to be lacking on any isolation for your arms. Your arms are not gonna grow if you don't hit them at least a tiny bit. Yes, they can still grow when you're doing compound movements, but I promise you, if you want more definition and growth in your triceps, you still need to put at least one isolation movement, and that's exactly why I chose the tricep push down. Time and time again, guys, it has been the thing that has grown my triceps for the longest. I've seen the most growth. You can go super slow, you can fail, and it's pretty safe to do. It's all cable, so the tension is there throughout the whole movement. As long as you're controlling it, you'll be good all the way down. The way I recommend it, you don't wanna have your arms too far back to where you're too tucked in. Instead, you wanna lean forward just a tiny bit, bring your arms a bit forward, and just push down. This is to ensure that you give your arms enough free movement to be able to get a full push down. That way you can get a full contraction of your triceps. Because I promise you, if you miss that last quarter of the contraction, you're missing out on a lot of gains. So the next time that you're gonna be doing tricep push downs, just remember, lean forward, bring your arms forward a tiny bit, push all the way down, down, get a full contraction to where you can see your tricep flexing, then come all the way up about halfway, hold that tension, and then push right back down. Typically, the way I like to do these tricep push downs, I go anywhere from 12 to 15 reps. If I really truly want to get a pump and want to focus more on the contraction, go way slower than usual, I typically try to aim for the 15 to 20 rep range. You don't have to, but I promise you your pumps are going to be nasty. All right, now we're on the second section of the 10 best exercises that I would personally choose. We're gonna go over the pull muscles. So here's gonna be the first one. I would choose a chest supported row. Let me explain. Out of all the row movements that I have done, like I've done a seated cable row, that's completely fine. I've done barbell rows, it's okay. Now the chest supported row, yes, you can use a little bit momentum, but you're so restricted, and on the way down, the stretch is phenomenal. Obviously, you guys don't have to do this, but you can switch over for a seated cable row and the stretch is just as the same. I started with those, but now from what I know and all my knowledge, guys, I would have definitely gone towards the chest supported row just because I feel like it's a harder movement, it's a stricter movement, and I feel like it hits way more the muscles in such a better way. Obviously, this is also a compound movement with rows, so you are indirectly hitting your biceps and your forearms as well. Those are gonna get built as well, and as well, you're gonna be hitting the rear delts as well as the lats. So multiple back movements, multiple muscle groups are being worked at the same time. This saves you a lot of time. This is also ensuring that you are contracting those muscles. That way there could be more muscle development. A form tip that I usually try to tell people is when you're on the chest supported row, as you're coming down, let your whole entire back kind of round. And then as you're coming back up, keep your chest up high and squeeze with your lats and rear delts. Obviously, depending where your grip is, you're either targeting more rear delts or you're targeting your more upper back. If your hand grip is more to grabbing all the way at the top of the grips, it's gonna target more your traps as well as your upper back. If you're grabbing right here in the middle, where it's kind of turned sideways about 45 degrees, you are gonna target your lats and your rear delts a lot more. Either way, either one you pick is not wrong. It's whatever you wanna target the most. And that's the flexibility with that exercise. You can switch it up. So you can do 2 sets, just targeting the rear delts and lats more. And then the next 2 sets, you can target the upper back as well. Or you can make it into 2 different exercises. Either way is gonna work. But personally, I would just do it in 2 and 2 sets. By the way, guys, if you've been enjoying these tips, subscribe and turn on your bell notifications so you're not missing out on any of these tips that is fitness related. I post about a video a week. Now let's get back into the video. The next exercise, guys, we're gonna go back to the delt area. And my personal favorite is working on the rear delt. There's multiple ways of doing this, but typically the fastest and easiest way that you can set up is going on the fly machine. Instead of putting your back towards the bench, you wanna put your chest towards the pad, facing the machine, turning the tools inward, the handles, reaching out, and then pulling back. This is gonna work on this part of the head of the rear delt, and it's gonna give you that super 3D look. You ever look at those cartoons, those anime shows, with those guys, or even Dragon Ball Z, like Goku and all these Saiyans, they have those 3D shoulder looks? Yeah, thing is crazy looking and freaky looking. But the way you're gonna wanna do this, when you're on the machine, you wanna roll your shoulders forward to where the tension's already kept on the rear delts. And when you're pushing back, keep your arms straight, 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 straight. Come about here, squeeze, and come back slowly. When you're here, don't come all the way back to where you're releasing the tension. Instead, come just far enough on the eccentric to where the tension is still being held, and then come back all the way again and squeeze and do the same thing. Repeat this for 4 sets for 10 to 12 reps, and I promise you, the burn is gonna be crazy, guys. The next exercise that I would typically focus on are preacher curls. Let me explain, guys. One of the best bicep movements that's gonna target both of the heads for your bicep and then give you a nasty contraction are preacher curls. Whenever you do it on the eccentric, you're gonna get that lengthened position, and that stretch on the bicep is crazy. Because the thing is, guys, when you're on the pad and you're just letting it go, still holding that tension, you're gonna feel the squeeze all throughout the bicep. And then when you're coming back up, you're gonna squeeze and do the same thing. Here's a pro tip. When you're doing these preacher curls, do not let your wrists go like this. Keep them tight like this to where they're facing you. That way you don't cause a lot of wrist pain. It's very common to get wrist pain because a lot of beginners, what they tend to do is just let the wrist hang and just start doing the bicep movement like that. That's gonna create some wrist pain, and it's gonna create some weak forearms and some weak wrists. So you don't want that. When you're doing these, guys, pick a weight you can control. You're gonna come all the way down and then come all the way up, squeeze for about a second or two, and then come all the way down, going very slow. Trust me, if you're doing these correct, you're gonna feel the burn around the 8th rep or 10th rep. I typically like going a little bit heavy on this, so minimum, at least I would say, get to like at least 8 reps. On the higher end, I like to do 12 reps, but if you want a really bodybuilding style and get a good squeeze on it, 15 reps is fine. It's very moderate. I wouldn't push it any more than 15. Tricep push-downs, yes, I said that, but for preacher curls, this is a heavier movement, I wouldn't really try to push any more than 15 reps. Another good thing about the preacher curls, guys, is you can fail. I don't know if you noticed, but a lot of the exercises that I'm picking is stuff you can do by yourself without even having to needing a spotter. Yes, a spotter is good to help you get extra reps. That way you can get, you know, more reps in and really go to true failure. But if you have to work out by yourself, then you know, this saves you the trouble and it lets you work out by yourself in peace without anybody bothering you. And it's pretty safe, guys. Like, you would have to be doing something very stupid to hurt yourself. But if you're using weight you can control, you will have nothing to worry about. All right, guys, if you made it this far, we're gonna go into the third section. I know some of you guys are gonna click off on this because the third section that we're gonna go to is legs. I know what you're thinking. When I first started, I used to dread doing legs. I wouldn't want to come to the gym. I actually had to make myself doing it. And I'll be honest, guys, I've now started liking legs. Back then, when I was like way younger, around like 15, even heck, like even when I got up to like 20 years old, I didn't really like doing legs. I just made myself do it. I didn't really start liking legs until I got way stronger on it, like much stronger on it. And I started noticing actual progression and I actually liked the way my legs looked. My legs have some size, but now that I've progressed, I started to like it more. So I want to say around when I turned 21 is when I really started to enjoy legs and I actually started looking forward to the challenge. That's probably the only thing that's kept me afloat, is the fact that like I enjoy taking a challenge when it comes to things, which is why I gravitated towards the gym after I stopped playing basketball. I wanted a competition, even if it was within myself. The first leg exercise that I would pick as one of the 10 best exercises that you need is literally squats. You can do any type of squats. I prefer doing barbell squats, but if you can't do barbell squats, there's alternative of squats. I know you've seen the names like Bulgarians, hack squat. Like you've seen me do those so many times, but the reason I like the barbell squat so much more is because it targets so much of your muscle in your legs. It is a compound movement, guys. So in case you didn't get the hint from the very start of the video, but yes, it's a compound movement that's gonna work on your quadriceps, your glutes, and your hamstring. Yes, it's not gonna involve your calves a bit more, but let's be honest, who really wants to work on the calves and who really looks at calves? You're more than welcome to do it on your own. I do them, but we're talking about the 10 best exercises that you need. Back to the squats. If you're doing them correctly, you will get such a good progression and development in your legs. It is one of the most humbling leg exercises because you will feel it no matter if it's a good day or a bad day. You gotta be in the zone. I don't know not one person that's like, yeah, like I had an easy leg day when it comes to squatting. Squats are fun, they're challenging, and they will push you a bit more. Plus, when you work out your legs, guys, you're gonna build so much more testosterone in your body. So it's giving you so much return for your exercises. Typically, the way you wanna do with squats, you wanna properly warm up to like the actual weight that you're going to do. So for instance, if I was gonna do 315, the way I like to start, and you don't have to start with the bar, but I like starting with the bar, do about 10 reps. But if you didn't wanna start with the bar, you can start with 135, do about 10 reps. Then the next set you will do is 185, you do about 3 reps. The next set you will do is 225, you'll do 225 for 1. And then the last warm up you'll do is 275 for 1. And that should give you a good indication if you should go to even 315. You don't have to make that small of jumps. You can do bigger jumps as you get more advanced. Once you get to 315, then you can hit your top set. I wouldn't recommend going straight to your top set because that's what causes injuries. If you do these correctly, you will get a lot of return for your exercises. I do highly recommend if you're gonna do any type of squat movement any hinging movements, you wear knee sleeves. And if you're gonna do any type of barbell squats, front or back squats with the barbell, wear a belt for your top set. Yes, I'm looking at you. Yes, you who doesn't want to wear a belt. It's safe, you can use it in competition, and I notice I get like a 2% or 10% boost on my exercises, and it helps you brace against something. So be safe and try to push yourself just a bit more than last time. Ooh, up next, we have RDLs. And let me tell you guys, I personally would pick RDLs because they're more of a challenge. Yes, you can make the argument with leg curls are much safer, but if you do RDLs correctly, man, the contraction on it is amazing. The burn you get on your glutes and hamstring is great. I personally feel like over the years as I've done RDLs, it's given me the most development on my legs. Yes, I do more exercises for my hamstring and glutes, but if I only had to pick one hamstring and glute movement, it would definitely be RDLs. With RDLs, the way I would properly do them, I like to tell people, imagine you're closing a door with your butt. So what you're gonna do, you're just gonna let your arms hang. If you're doing it with barbells or dumbbells, it's almost the same way. What you wanna do is let your arms hang, and the only thing you wanna be pushing back is your hip. You wanna go back until your hips can no longer go anymore, and then come right back up. The reason you don't wanna try to push it any more than what your hips cannot go farther back is because it's gonna start incorporating your lower back a ton more. There's nothing wrong with using a little bit of your lower back. That's completely fine and completely normal. It is bound to happen, which is why you gotta be a bit careful. You don't wanna round your back. You wanna keep your back straight, a little bit arched, and you just wanna slightly go back and come right back up. This ensures you keep the tension constantly on your glute and hamstring and not your lower back. I personally seen so much progression, and I noticed this has made me so much stronger on my squats because my accessories have gotten way stronger. And the final 10th exercise that I would pick is the hack squat. Yes, I know the hack squat is not typically a beginner friendly for everybody, but if you can do the hack squat, the depth that it will give you on your quadriceps, it is amazing. I personally seen so much leg development on my quads, and it has been one of the most humbling machines that I've ever done. Out of any movement I've done for my upper body, whether that's chest, back, arms, shoulders, or heck, even RDLs, hack squat, I promise you, it will have you contemplating life. It is that humbling, guys. And if you're doing them correctly, you can get so much depth, and it's something that allows you to come all the way down and all the way up. Obviously, if you don't do barbell squats, hack squat's a good alternative, and you could switch it for something like leg extension. But these are personally what I would pick. So when you're doing the hack squat, make sure you're wearing knee sleeves because it will put a lot of pressure on your joints. Like, yes, guys, work hard, play hard, but with these exercises, as you keep progressing, you have to be careful because it would put a lot of pressure on your joints. And what the knee sleeves are gonna do is gonna protect your joints and put all that pressure on your muscles where your quadriceps are instead. You don't wanna hurt yourself, and you don't wanna stop yourself from getting any leg development. So you can't be scared. Yes, it's an intimidating exercise. And yes, if you can't do it, when you're first starting, if you can't do it with any weight, that is completely fine. Master it with no weight because there is starting resistance on most of the hack machines that you are gonna use in your local gym. Most of the ones that I've used already has a starting resistance of maybe like, I think about 100 pounds or 90 pounds. I'm not 100% sure. You have to check with your local gym. Sometimes on the side of the machine, they do have how much weight it starts with. But if you're a very true beginner, you can start with 10 pounds on each side, and each week you can progress by 10 more pounds each time. When I say 10 more pounds, I mean 10 more pounds on each side. Obviously, if you can only increase by 5 on each side, that is completely fine. Not only is the hack squat gonna help with so much of your imbalance, you have to make sure your feet are properly placed, because if not, it'll mess with your hip. So not only will it give you a good challenge, it will give you good leg development, and your quadriceps are gonna get a good burn, and that pump is gonna be crazy. By the way, guys, if you want me to come up with a more advanced list of 10 exercises, comment down below and I'll be willing to make a video on it. I can create a more advanced kind of list for all you advanced lifters out there. You don't need to train like a bodybuilder or spend so many hours in the gym. Master these 10 exercises and you'll stay lean and very aesthetic. Not to mention, you're gonna feel so amazing because you won't waste any time. And if this video helps simplify things for you and you found this very helpful, I want you to click on this video where I talk about how long it's gonna actually take you to get jacked.